So I'm very thrilled to welcome you, Ms. Nidhi Gulati, today for our today's conversation. Nidhi is a strategic communication leader with over 2 decades of experience sharing narratives that inspire trust, strengthen culture, and define purpose. So thank you for joining us today, Nidhi, and it's wonderful to have you here with us today.
Thank you
So
very much for
starting
inviting me.
Yes. So, starting with our first question, you began your career in journalism before moving into the CopCom. How did this transition happen, and how did you find your start in communications?
Thank you, Ritika. Thank you, firstly, for inviting me for this interview. And I'm happy that you considered me around. Coming to your question on um, how did I, move from journalism to communications. Now, my transition from journalism to corporate communication was driven by purpose. As a journalist, I had been learning how to tell powerful, authentic storytelling. It was something that was the core of journalism for us. It How it can shape perception, influence behavior, and also inspire trust. Over time, I wanted to use this power more strategically, and that is why I thought it would be useful for me to kind of move to the other side to help organizations articulate who they are, what they stand for, and how they make an impact. So when the opportunity came to move into corporate communications, it just felt like natural evolution. I started by building narratives for brands that were grounded in truth, very much like journalism, but with a clear connection to business outcomes. Now, the balance between storytelling and strategy is what has defined my career ever since. So, if you want me to deep dive into what I did, I began my career as a journalist, first with the Times of India, and later moved to television newsrooms like CNN, IBN, News 18, and NewsX. Journalism taught me to ask all the right questions, listen deeply, and tell stories that really matter. But over time, I realized I wanted to move from just reporting stories to actually shaping them, to have a hand in building narratives that drive purpose and impact within organizations. And that's what led me to this transition. It began quite organically when I joined Tech Mahindra. It was the first time I saw how storytelling, strategy, and culture could come together to build a brand from inside out. And from there, my role at Bajaj FinServ deepened my understanding of repetition management and corporate narrative building at scale. Coming to today, I've been with Springer Nature, which is a very different industry for quite some time now, close to a decade now. And the journey came full circle. I've been able to combine my storytelling roots with strategic communications, branding, DEI, CSR, all anchored in authenticity and purpose. So, looking back, journalism gave me the foundation of curiosity and credibility, and communications allowed me to build on it, not just to tell stories, but to make meaning out of it.
That's an amazing start. So, you have over 2 decades of experience across industries from financial services to tech and now to the publishing part. So, how do you adapt your communication strategies to different sectors and industries?
Well, it's a very interesting question because it's not always simple. But what I've learned over the years is that while industries differ, people and purpose don't. Whether it's financial industries or it's technology or it's scientific publishing, every sector has its own language, culture, and priorities. So the key to anything is to first understand these nuances deeply. What drives the business? What matters to its people? And what values anchor its reputation? Now, in financial services, for instance, communication needs to inspire trust and transparency because you're dealing with people's money, you're dealing with their aspirations. In technology, it's more about simplifying the complex and telling stories of innovation and impact. And in scientific publishing where I work today, it's all about building credibility and purpose, enabling access to knowledge and supporting the research community better. Now, across all these, my approach has remained the same. Listen first, learn the ecosystem better, and then craft narratives that connect strategy with empathy. Now, the context may change, but the fundamentals of good communication, which are clarity, authenticity, relevance, they never do. And I also place a lot of emphasis on empathy because communication is not just about what we say, it's about how people feel when they hear it. And it's all about, storytelling is all about what people hear, and people could hear different things, they could mean different things out of it. So what do they feel, what do they hear is very important. And whether it's a brand story or an internal change message, I think authenticity builds trust, and when it comes from the place of empathy, it always helps. And when teams lead with that mindset, communication is not then just a function, it's a force that unites people with purpose.
Since you have so beautifully defined what communication is, I would like to ask you, like, since the time you started until now, there has been so many transformations in the industry. So what are some of the major transformations you have observed?
Transformations. Now, transformation is a very interesting thing. We are constantly evolving, and it's not just it's not just the communications industry. I would say overall, it has been evolving. So when I started out, communication was all about telling the right story and at the right time. Today, it's more about shaping meaning and building trust, because in the world of fake news and social media with so much information overload, it's not an easy task to build trust. So the communicator's role has evolved from being reactive to being strategic. And I always say, communications is not a support or a corporate function alone. It is a strategic function, sitting at the table where culture, purpose, and performance all intersect. So as a modern communication leader, to me, curiosity, authenticity, and being courageous, someone who listens deeply, acts with empathy, and holds themselves accountable to both words and to outcomes. It's not just what I say, but what I actually do and how it matters to the organization. So we're not just managing perception anymore. We are helping organizations to stay human. And in the world where AI is fast kind of creeping in, being human is very, very important. It's not about just drafting messages or handling media. It's more about creating meaning. It's more about helping organizations articulate who they are, what they stand for, and how they make an impact. Now the communicators move from the sidelines to influencing culture, to influencing leadership and business outcomes at large, is what I feel.
Great. So since today's communication more about trust, empathy, and purpose, how do you define a strategic communication leader in 2025 and beyond?
Well, very interesting question. Now, I think I've already said a few of those things in my previous response. I see that, a strategic communications leader in 2025 and going forward would be someone who leads with clarity, with courage, and with connection. Now, why do I say all of these things? It's a very complex environment. Narratives are shifting overnight, and trust is more fragile than ever today. So communication is not just about messaging, it's about meaning. A true communications leader is not just managing repetition, because that is how people saw communicators earlier, you're managing repetition. But we are now looking at shaping culture, influencing strategy, and also enabling people who are your biggest force in any organization, who are your brand ambassadors, to navigate change with confidence. So my approach is always guided by a few core values. So as I said, curiosity, it keeps me learning and evolving, and I feel that is what strategic communication leaders need, because understanding new technology, new audiences and ideas is very important to stay relevant. Authenticity and accountability, they ensure that our communication is grounded in truth and purpose, and what we say is what we stand by. And finally, courage. Why courage? Because it helps in taking tough calls, asking the hard questions, and leading conversations that matter. It was always like, we're not the yes sir department, we're not the yes ma'am department. We need to ask the hard questions. We need to make some tough calls of saying no sometimes, because that is where the repetition of the organization will benefit from. And largely, I think perseverance keeps you focused when the environment feels very uncertain. It is so ultimately, a strategic communication leader today means being both empathetic yet ambitious, someone who listens very deeply, acts decisively, and uses the power of storytelling to unite people around progress and purpose.
So, and so that's a really compelling advice for today's communication professionals. So, since majority of your work is also about storytelling, so from your vantage point, what do you think are the key strategies or key points that creates a good story in today's evolving industry?
So I have always believed, that storytelling comes out of the place of passion. You need to be passionate about what you do and how you do. And that stories have the power to shape not just the perception, but also progress. It is so important to shape meaning and build trust. And I think all of this comes from storytelling, and storytelling comes out of curiosity and being open to change and being more passionate about what you want and how you want to bring that entire narrative together. So when it comes to me, what motivates me is the impact storytelling can have. But more than storytelling, I think today we need story living. Now you would wonder, why am I moving from the storytelling narrative to a story living narrative? But if you ask me, really, story living is something that you actually make people feel, make people understand and believe in, and it is very important that the story living comes to fore. So personally, for me, I think shaping meaning and building trust comes from the right story being told at the right time, and when it is wrapped around with curious, authentic, and courageous meaning, which is coming from facts and authenticity and is building credibility, it turns into story living. And we're helping organizations to stay more human in a fast changing world with stories.
That's an interesting take on this. So, since you have over 2 decades of experience, you must have worked on so many campaigns. Could you share me some of your favorite campaigns with us?
Oh wow, that's an interesting one. Bringing campaigns together is very interesting. But if I have to name some, I think one of my most proudest campaign happens to be the employee value proposition creation for Springer Nature. So I remember when I joined the company about 8 years ago, the only task that I had was build a communications function, because we didn't have a communications function around here in India. And the other one was, but people don't connect with who we are as a company. Everyone connects to their work, they connect to their respective departments, but there is no coming together of the entire company. And to me, that was a challenge that I wanted to really see how we can tackle. So my first campaign was, let's create an employee value proposition. I spent, along with a few partners, about 85-90 hours interviewing colleagues at different levels in the organization, at different from different departments, and seeing what connects. What is the binding factor for everyone. It wasn't an easy journey. So it all was like a lot of work, a lot of understanding, a lot of listening, and then trying to see how we still come together as one Springer Nature. That was the key essence here. And when I started, people said, but we are two very different areas, mostly technology and publishing, because both of them, while they intertwine and work for each other, we work very differently and we work independently. And I was like, okay, if that be so, if that comes out through all the narratives and all the conversations we have, we'll build two instead of one. But let's see how it shapes. And surprisingly, when we brought the results to the table and we put together the analysis and we said, this is what it is, everyone said, yes, what we've come out with is correct. And we came up with this beautiful AVP saying, we keep science moving, because we're a scientific publisher. So we came up with, we keep science moving. And just very easily everyone started to relate, whether they were from tech, whether they were from the core publishing area of work, whether they were from the corporate functions. They all said no, but we all kind of come together with this. And then started the outreach of this campaign, and I think those were the most beautiful outreach campaigns that I have worked on.
Amazing. So, since you currently work in the scientific publishing area, and we often don't much hear about the role of communication here. So, how do you think communication play a important role in the publishing industry?
Well, communication plays an important role in every industry.
Yeah.
But when it
But
comes,
since you are the people who work behind the curtains and you are the heroes that work behind the curtains, we don't see often of your work in front. So I just wanted to know
I would say
how
I would
do you
say
work?
the other way around, Ritika, because more often, and this is not just for the publishing industry. This is in every industry that I've worked in. More often, people say, "Oh, if you're from the communications, you're anyways hogging all the limelight." I'm like, "Hello,
Yeah.
we never really, working towards limelight. We working."
Exactly.
Fortunately, unfortunately, because the communications people work with leaders, people see them more often and they feel that they are the ones who are always in limelight. They don't realize that there is a lot of blood and sweat and tears that go behind the scenes to get a leader ready to speak, whether it is at internal town halls or media interviews or even up on the stage somewhere. There is a lot of hard work. There's a lot of research that goes in, and there are a lot of people from the communications team who are working on different moving parts. It's also so dynamic that it's changing. We don't know what the next question from, say, today in this interview, for instance, I don't know what questions you'd ask. You might want to share a set of outlines with me before the interview, but that would not necessarily be the line of questioning that we have. So similarly with any interview for any leader in any organization. And hence, when it comes to communications, I feel this is one function everyone thinks that, oh, we all know how to communicate. They are just making a living out of it. What I would request is step into our shoes for a week, not more, for a week. And you will realize, while communication seems to be the simplest thing, it is one of the most difficult things to do. What's the right tonality? What's the right way of going about it? What to say, what not to say? How to say something difficult in a way that it does not really sound awful to somebody else. How to make difficult circumstances not so difficult when a leader speaks. I think this is, and I don't know whether I should call communication a science or an art, but I think it's a mix of both. You need to have an understanding of neuroscience to become a good communicator, but at the same time, how you speak, how you shape narratives, how you tell the story is something that doesn't come easy. If it was so, every one of us would be a storyteller. And I wish that day comes, because if at all everyone's a good storyteller, we'd be in a world which is full of good communicators.
I think everyone has a story to tell, but not everyone is a good storyteller.
So that's why I said the shift is from storytelling to story living. So why is it that today most employees are being looked up as brand ambassadors? Every organization, every industry you go to, we are giving more and more emphasis on employees being the brand ambassador. Now, why are employees the brand ambassador? Because in today's world, whether it is social media, whether it is outside, whether it is within the company, everyone is talking and everyone is shaping the larger narrative. So for that narrative to be a narrative that comes from the place of purpose and it is continuing to become the strongest voice, it is important to tell the right story. And for employees to tell the right story, they have to be equipped with the right messages.
Yes. So since we are talking about purpose, I wanted to ask you, what motivates your passion for purpose-led communication?
What motivates my passion? That's again a very interesting question, because To me, I have always been a person who's been curious. I've asked a lot of questions, not just in my workplace, but even in my personal space. I think my parents were the first victims, so to say, of too many
Yeah.
questions coming their way. But they were very patient and they kind of always encouraged more questions. So I
Yeah.
feel curiosity has been something that has shaped me to become a better communications professional or a better journalist back then, but also being open to change. So for me, it is very important that we don't be the stricklers. I can't say I have 20 plus years of experience, so I know it all. No, I don't. Everything is constantly evolving. There are so many times that you learn from someone who's just passed out from college or from someone who's still in school. And if we are not open to embracing that change and learning from it, we cease to grow. So for me, I think curiosity and open to change and learning and constantly unlearning and relearning has been what has helped me grow.
Amazing. So, since we are taking notes from your journey, I just want to ask you, what's your leadership mantra for balancing purpose, people, and performance?
My leadership mantra. I think I think I've given you quite a bit already in
Yeah.
all that I have spoken.
Yes.
Uh, but I I would go back to the fundamentals again and say it's curiosity. It's staying endlessly curious. Being authentic, because that is very important in a world which is full of a lot of narratives going around.
Yeah.
And lastly, it as I said, purpose led communication, and my passion for it comes from that simple belief that stories have the power to shape not just people's perception but the progress. So it's all about balance. Lead with
Yeah.
authenticity, act with a lot of accountability, because accountability really, really brings in all the. I think if you're accountable for something, you start to make sure that you're working towards the right direction and measuring success not just by outcomes of campaigns, but by the impact they have on people. So when you
Yeah.
communicate with courage and clarity and purpose, naturally everything becomes performance.
Amazing. Okay, so lastly, what's next for you personally and professionally? Like, what are the areas you are like planning to explore or reinvent yourself in?
Well, I have always believed, and I just told you, that growth comes from curiosity and being open to change. So, both personally and professionally, I am today at a stage where I want to deepen my impact, to move from shaping communication strategies to shaping
Yeah.
conversations that influence culture, inclusion, and purpose at large. Um, in the next phase of my journey, I also want to explore how communications can drive systemic change, whether it is through diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion, or to building
Yeah.
sustainable brands. Because, certain things have become buzzwords, but how do you really create impact and drive them in a meaningful way? Um, I think it's very important, and it comes from authentic stories, how we can connect people with these stories. Because if I say something to you like, oh yeah, this is all very good to hear, but where's data supporting this, or are we really doing anything about it? So that authenticity is very important. I'm also very interested in how technology, especially AI, can be used more responsibly to
Yeah.
enhance human connection rather than replace it. That one fear that everyone has, is AI here to take my
Take away.
place and leave me with nothing to do? I think we are at a point where in that intersection of communication, technology, and empathy, I want to know more about it. And on a personal front, I think I want to continue learning. I want to also continue mentoring young professionals, because I have received so much love and acceptance from our community, from my professional setup. I want to give it
Yeah.
back. There was a time when I was a young professional with, with stars in my eyes, a lot of guts to go and do things. But there was always time when there was no direction because we didn't know who could help us move in the right direction. So I want to give back. I want to mentor young professionals, whether it is in their communications professional journey or it is just in the journey to move up and shape their own individual careers, and also perhaps document some of these lessons I've learned along the way. I don't know how it's going to be, but let's see. So reinvention for me is not about changing that direction, but it's also about evolving with intention, staying true to my values and continuing to find meaning in what I do. So yeah, staying ambitious with purpose, maybe curious with some courage, and rooted in authenticity, anchored there. This is something that I want to relearn.
Amazing. So since we have discussed a lot of things about your professional journey, I will just creep into a bit your personal life, and I want to ask a few fun questions from you. So first question is, what inspires you other than communication? Like, what are your other hobbies or passions?
Well, I draw a lot of inspiration from traveling, exploring new cultures, meeting new people, and of course, discovering local cuisines. Coming from the north of India, I think I'm a foodie anyways, but when I meet... So, as I said, a lot of my journey is inspired by my personal questions, my personal experiences, and traveling has shaped that. So, if you ask me, it constantly reminds me how diverse perspectives make life and for that matter, even communication so much more richer. I also like reading, writing, painting sometimes. These are my ways of slowing down and reflecting on what I do. And when I completely want to switch off, I tune into some music and go out for some long walks.
Amazing. So since you are an avid traveler, so what is your favorite travel destination?
Oh my, that would be bias, if I name one and not have others. I have a lot of travel destinations that I've had some...
Okay, I'll just make it easy for you then. A mountain person or a beach person?
Mountain person.
Okay. Amazing. So since you are also a foodie, what's your favorite food and what's your favorite place to have it?
So there are two parts to it. What's my favorite food? I am someone who likes to explore new cuisines. So every time I go to a place, I'll really go and explore the local cuisines, and to me they add so much more flavor. There are times when you are in a European country and you're like eating bland food, but that also comes with what drives the people to eat what they eat and how they eat. So if you ask me what's my favorite food, well, I like all kinds of cuisines. I love to explore all kinds of cuisines. But when it comes to what's comfort food, I think ghar ke dal chawal is the comfort food.
I mean, no one can beat ghar ke dal chawal.
Absolutely. And for people like us who are constantly on the go and traveling, once you're home, all you want to do is please give me plain dal and rice, and that's all that I want to have.
Exactly. Okay, so last question. Beyond being a communication leader, who is Nidhi Gulati?
Wow. Okay, so beyond being a communications leader, it's funny, and I'm sure you're going to wonder this is all fake, but believe you me, this is coming from my heart. Every time someone asks me, what do I do? I've never told people I work in the space of communications, and I always tell them I'm a storyteller. And people are like, what kind of stories do you say? And I'm like, that's what gets people intrigued. But I am a storyteller. I am a lifelong learner. I'm very curious about people, and cultures, what shapes them, what connects them. How can I use my voice to tell their story or to just enhance what I have seen and experienced? So if you ask me who's Nidhi Gulati beyond the title of communications leader, a storyteller, a learner, and someone who believes that purpose in people are what truly make the journey worthwhile.
Oh, great. I think that's a great definition. That's a great way to define you. I'll also say that because I've heard so many interesting stories in this interview. now.
I am sure
So-
you have.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ms. Gulati, for joining us. It's been an amazing interaction with you.